In this episode of Inspire and Be Inspired, I'm interviewing Sonia Mkoloma. Sonia has reached the highest level in the sport of netball and is now England's assistant head coach. Sonia has medalled in World Championship tournaments. In 2008, she won an MVP award, and in 2013, Sonia was inducted to the Netball Hall of Fame list. We are so lucky to have Sonia with us, and I hope you're as excited as me to hear more about her journey. Welcome back to another episode of Inspire and Be Inspired. Today, we have an international superstar with us, Sonia Mkoloma, world netball player, current assistant head coach, 2013 Players Player Award winner, 2008 MVP, most valuable player, and yeah, just an amazing talent that we've got with us today. Firstly, how are you, Sonia?
I'm good, Tyler. I'm good this morning, and I'm grateful to be here. And thanks for having me.
Good. Thanks for being here. It really is a pleasure. After looking up about your netball achievements, it's been really inspiring to see because you have done a lot. I mean, you've reached the highest of highs in the sport of netball, and I wanted to dive into that a little bit today. So, firstly, let's start right at the beginning. What age did you start playing netball?
Well, I actually started playing netball when I was 13 at secondary school. And, you do, I guess, secondary school, you do all sports. And one of the teachers was a netball fanatic. Yeah. And through that, I went through school netball, but she actually got our team into more competitive netball. Yeah. And then I went for trials at Middlesex County, for county netball. And that's like the start of the stepping stones, I guess, to making your way up to England, making your way to the top a little bit. And I just enjoyed it. So for me, it was just fun. It was sports. At the same time, I was doing athletics. I was doing indoor football. I was doing anything. I was, badminton, you name it, and I was playing it. So for me, this was just something else, which I found it fun. And a little community of girls all enjoying the same sport. For county, you meet new friends again. Yeah. So I just made my way up the pathways that way.
And then as you were playing, what age did you start to realize, actually, I'm going to make a career out of this?
I never knew, hand on heart, I never knew there was even an England netball team. I never knew about netball. So I was playing, trials came up for England under 18s. Under 18s, and I went for trials, and they were like, and I didn't get in. And it's back in the days, everyone sat down and they call your name. Yeah. And that's my first time ever knowing that England had a netball team. And they didn't call my name, and I was like, I think I'm, you look around the room, and I'm that person. I'm like, I think I'm better than a few people here. So I went back again to under 21s and got into that squad, under 21s a year later. And just having in that space, just understanding netball, understanding England netball, seeing, some of the girls that I was playing with at Middlesex who actually played for England, which I just never really knew. So I was never aware because it wasn't on the TV. So it wasn't actually visible at that time. Yeah. And that's when I actually kind of knew a bit more about netball. As that, I think leading into that, it was just about enjoying the sport and being the best I could be at it. Yeah.
I mean, I want to dive into something you said there because you said you went for trials and didn't get in. And then you went back the following year, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then you made the team. I mean, I love hearing stuff like that because it just shows, you're bouncing back from defeat or failures, and you were able to take that on the chin, come back next year. I mean, what was that like in that period? When you didn't get in, what did that do to you, internally?
I think I was enjoying the sport. I go back to the enjoyment of the sport, and I'm quite competitive, and being in that space and not making the team, I just felt like I was good enough. Obviously they didn't, but I did that confidence thing. And then, I just thought I'm going to go back again. And they said, Charles is coming up for England Netball, do you want to go? And at this point, I went from being the eldest in the under 18s to the youngest in the under 21s, because I'm now moving into a new age group. So I'm one of the younger ones. So for me to get into that space, I was proud, and it was quite important. But I just never gave up that hope of being at that national level, and I thought it's an opportunity, so I just took it.
Yeah. So that just shows, passion.
Yeah.
You were passionate about it. The fact that you got your knockback, it didn't matter because you love the sport and you love playing, and also you're competitive, so you wanted to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, and it was a bit of that as well. And I just think from playing county netball, and you get to travel across England, playing different counties. I just love the travel. I love traveling. And then the fact that I was like, oh, England, what does that mean? Where do I get to go? Who do we get to play? So for me, it was just exciting as well.
Yeah.
So it was definitely worth trying again. And thank God I did, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're definitely, a massive inspiration, and an even bigger inspiration to those younger than, who are coming through the netball ranks now. What kind of advice would you give to anyone chasing a dream or chasing a goal, whether that's within netball, whether that's within sport, or whether that's within business or a life goal? What advice would you give to someone?
My first bit of advice would be to always enjoy what you're doing. I think when you enjoy and when you enjoy something and you're passionate about it, you give it your all. You wake up in the morning with a smile on your face, and you get cracking and you want stuff to get done. Commit to it, which is always important, and give 100%, because then at least whatever happens, you've given your all, and you've been true to yourself and to what your cause is. I think it's also important to have a good balance, a good life balance. And we talk a lot. I guess in the last few years they talk a lot about well-being, mental health, and it's just about finding that balance between what you're passionate about, what that work is, what that sport is, but also making sure that your life balance, whether that be family, whether it's friends, making time for people away from that gives you that nice balance. I think that's important. And I just think another bit of advice is just be prepared to fail. Yeah. And don't give up if you do. And I think that's really important, because, I think everyone gets knockbacks in some way along their journey. And, when you do get those knockbacks, take that as a learning, as opposed to, as a way to kind of put the hands and throwing the white flag and give up. So it's just about being prepared to fail and cracking on again.
Yeah, definitely. A quote I love is, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the success. Yeah. And I love that quote. And, you have clearly shown that you've bounced back from your failures to then go on and have a really successful career. Yeah. Now, of course, throughout your career, you've had ups and downs. What kind of mindset have you had to adopt to, play at the highest level within netball?
I think part of my character is I'm quite competitive in sports.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely been key, and that's been, the main thing, because, you make a team, but making a team doesn't mean you get to start.
Yep.
So, each session and, each training you do by yourself or with a group, I'm quite competitive. So I'm always who am I trying to be? Who's got the target on their back? So I've always been in that headspace when I'm playing sports, and just trying to be the best I can be. So making sure that on and off the court, I'm doing the best that I can do for my body, for my mind, and for the team, because it's a team sport. And I'm open to learn. I love learning. I love absorbing information. So for me, asking a coach for help or asking a player, what do you think about this? I think that's all part of your mindset. You've got to be open to learn and take advice. Yeah. And take criticism at the same time. And that's all part of your journey, because, there's constructive criticism out there, which is going to help you be a better player. So you've got to be open to that.
Yeah, so taking feedback on without taking it too personal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned, doing things off the court, training hard, etc. How have you been able to, adopt a mindset to actually show up? Because, I'm sure there were some days where you were tired or couldn't be bothered. How have you been able to actually say, no, I'm going?
I go back to, I enjoy netball. Yeah. I enjoy, I've played a lot of sports and I've enjoyed all of them. So I think in my heart, that's always there. I hate the mornings. I struggle with the mornings. And so that kind of motivation to get up is just me knowing what I've got to get done for myself. So I do struggle, but it's something that I enjoy and I want to get better at. And I think the good thing is we get a lot of support, the higher up the levels you go, you get support from an S&C coach. You're not always training by yourself, you're meeting other girls there. So, it's knowing that once you get there, you're there, so you can commit to being there in that space.
I think again that just comes back to your passion. You know you love it, you know you enjoy it, and you're passionate about it. So it makes it 10 times easier to do things when you're passionate about them. You know, it's so difficult to do things that you're not passionate about.
Yeah, 100%.
So you mentioned, you know, some struggles. What are some of the struggles that you've had to overcome throughout your career?
I think for me is netball. You travel a lot with netball, and you know you miss a lot of family and friends events. You miss a lot of birthdays. You miss a lot of weddings. You miss funerals. You know, you miss a lot of things on that journey, and you know you have this emptiness because you want to be there, and you feel like you're letting people down sometimes by being unavailable.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the massive struggles for me. And, you know, back in 2008, I got the opportunity to move across to New Zealand to play, you know, in their professional league. And that was 6 months at a time away from home. And, you know, I missed a lot in that time. Like I missed, you know, my nephews are being born and you're missing their birthdays and all of that stuff. So for me, you know, living in New Zealand, then I moved across to Australia. And then I've been out there since I was out there for 8 years. You know, playing netball, you know, coaching netball and building a life overseas. And Australia literally is the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not as easy to kind of get back and be back in it. So I think that's been a major struggle, that distance and finding that balance. And you just, you miss a lot of people and you miss a lot of time that you can spend with family.
So a lot of sacrifice. And I guess the sacrifice, you know, is because you're following your passion.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And I always, you know, I'm the type of person who have no regrets. So I try to live with no regrets, which means, you know, my choices, I live with them and I embrace them and I commit to them. So I think that's part of it. So yes, I know you sacrifice, but you gain so much more.
Yeah.
You know, the opportunity to live in a new country, meet new people, a different lifestyle, you know, that's a great opportunity again. So for me, it is that balance between the two. So yes, sacrifice, but also it's an opportunity.
Yeah. You mentioned 2008 going over to New Zealand and winning the MVP award. MVP!
I know, can you imagine?
Can you tell us a little bit about that and, you know, how you felt, you know, how you managed to win it? Because that is great. That's amazing.
Well, I think the backstory behind that is a bit more as well, because when we went over, I went over there in New Zealand, I played for Team Central Post in Wellington, and we went through the season and we didn't win one game.
Wow. And
this was a trans-Tasmanian tournament. So we all played, there was 5 teams from Australia, 5 teams from New Zealand, so we were traveling back and forth, playing doubles, and we actually didn't win. We actually won. We went for the whole season without winning any games. So for me, it got to the point, I'm an England national player. I am highly competitive. I still want my team to win. You can throw in the towel, after game 5 or 6 and go, okay, this is it. It's never going to happen. But it was about getting up every morning, waking up, putting in the sessions, working with the team, building combinations, working with the girls around me. And every time I stepped on that court, I just made sure that I was the best I could be out there. So I played with all my heart, and I, played, never say die, and play to the end. Win. I was gonna say win, lose or draw. We never won, so it was definitely loss after loss. And the fact that that's why I was not expecting that MVP award. And the fact that that was seen on the outside is so important, because it shows you that when you're doing stuff, there's so many people watching you.
Yeah.
So how important it is to always put your best foot forward. So to win that award was amazing, especially coming from a team that sat bottom of the table the whole season.
Yeah, that is incredible. I've got goosebumps.
I know, that was crazy. That was unbelievable. So
how did you manage to keep going after losing?
Everyone had a new team. It was a young team, inexperienced team, and for me, I was like, well, I've come out here to play my sport. You're playing in front of thousands of people. You've always got to put your best foot forward. And and I talk about feedback and advice, and we're losing. But I was still going to our coaches and support staff, and how can I still be a better player? How can I be a better defender? What more can I do? So I just took the extra time to keep improving my game.
And, you know, netball is a team sport. And how do I help those around me? You know, I can't shoot, but how can I, you know, if I've got a shoot that's lacking in confidence, how can I give back and support her to be the best she can be? So it was always, you know, when I talk about learning and growing, I was always in that space. Yeah. And that's the only space I could be in. And every time we stepped out, I never stepped out with the girls around me and believed that we were going to lose. You know, everyone always looked each other in the eye and put out their best performances. And, you know, I look back now and I'm actually still good friends with most of them. Yeah. Because we built such a bond within that space that, and, you know, celebrated each other and supported each other that, you know, it's definitely a life experience and a memory that I'll never forget.
Definitely. That is incredible. I really love that. So you're now assistant head coach for the England Netball team, the Vitality Roses. Whoop, 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 whoop. How did that come about and how are you enjoying it so far?
It was, so I got spoke, you know, the head coach, Jess Felbury, I played with her when we were under 21. So I played with her through the ranks and then obviously I went off on my netball journey. She was doing her thing. And in 2019, I got a call, you know, there was a change of the guard. So previous coach was Tracy Neville and she did her cycle and there was a change of the guard in the netball setup. And I got a call in 2019 asking if I wanted to join the team as a support staff defensive coach on tour in New Zealand and Australia. And at that point, I'm living out there. So for me, it was easy. It was a no-brainer. So I can, you know, get on a flight for an hour and come across and, you know, spoke to my job at the time and said, look, this is what's happening. Is that okay? And they were like, thumbs up. So yeah, got on a plane and went out and met the girls. And I'd played with, so, you know, the England team, the Roses, the girls that came across were some of the younger ones coming through, which was actually quite a good space to be in because they were girls that I'd never met before or never played with. So that opportunity came along, I jumped at it and we went on a tour with them and came back to England in 2020, the beginning of January, and we did Nations Cup with those girls, and some of the older England players came back into the team. And that was in the UK. So for me, the opportunity to come home and coach home for a little bit. But at that point, it wasn't a full-time job. It was just, you know, like part-time as and when. And then Corona hit. So, you know, Corona hit and I'm in Australia. I relocated to a new state and netball had dried up a little bit. So I was just trying to kind of get my foot back into some sort of coaching in a new state. And yeah, Jess called me in 2021 at the beginning of the year and said, look, this opportunity is going to come up. Would you be interested? And it's the first time England Netball's actually had a full-time assistant coach, which is amazing that, you know, we're at that stage. And it's, you know, we've got Commonwealth Games coming up in August and we've got World Cup the following year. So for me, I was just like, yes. And yeah, and I think from then, you know, July, I jumped on a plane, came into camps with, you know, again, some of the girls, it's weird because I only retired in 2015. So, and, you know, a lot of the girls with netball, there's kind of like there is definitely a long shelf life in the sport. Yeah. So no, I'm now coaching some of the girls that I've played with. You know, and I've seen them start their career and now I've gone into coaching them. So that's been crazily weird and exciting all at the same time, and, you know, and building rapport and, you know, those relationships again, but as a coach. So it's just been a crazy ride these last 7 months, and it's only 7 months in. You know, we've been to New Zealand, we've, you know, won test series in New Zealand, we've come home, we've beaten Jamaica on home soil in a test series, we've gone to quad series, and yeah, it's all been happening in this short, you know. So for me, this job's it's what I love doing. I love giving back, I love inspiring, you know, players to be better or people to be better and to be the best they can be and support them in that journey. So yeah, it's just been a crazy and exciting opportunity.
No, that must be so incredible to, again, continue your passion, but in a different role. What throughout your journey, what are some of the things you feel you've learned about yourself? I definitely get excited about inspiring people. You know, when I'm away from netball, my other job, I work with a lot of leaving care kids. I work with mental health. I work with homelessness. I've worked with, you know, drug and alcohol addiction, and working and supporting people
to have opportunities and be in a better space and be a better version of themselves. And those are skills that transfer over to my netball coaching. So I've noticed that, you know, I have empathy. I care about people. I want people to be the best they can be. And I like to invest time in helping people and supporting those around me in order to do that and to reach their goals, and respect and understand that everybody's got different goals. And some people just want to enjoy playing netball. You know, some people don't want to be, you know, the best or the captain. They just want to be playing. They want to make a team. They want to be in the environment, you know. So when sport, everybody's dream's different and everybody's passion is not the same as mine. So, you know, it's about being open to that. And I think I'm always adapting. I think, you know, working with sports people who are focused on this, and then working with, you know, homeless people who, you know, they're just worried about when am I going to get my next meal, or, you know, when am I going to get my next paycheck? You know, you're working in those different spaces. And so it's about how am I being open-minded to support someone support someone in their space. And I think that's the same for netball as well, supporting someone in their space. And sometimes it's only little tweaks and little things you can help them get better with. So I think I've learned that I've got the patience to work in that space and resilience. And, you know, I guess there's something that can kind of clicks to inspire them to be the best they can be. Yeah,
wicked, awesome. And you mentioned inspiring others, but what inspires you?
You know, I think about this, and I think about the two careers that I've kind of gone into, and I'm inspired by helping others and seeing sometimes it's just a smile at the end of some advice you've given. And that kind of makes me know that I'm heading in the right direction with this person and I'm doing a good job and I'm supporting them. So that keeps me going. And, you know, it's about building relationships. So for me, that's that space of seeing someone smile, seeing someone say thank you, you know, coming back and saying just thank you, you know, things like that. So I'm definitely inspired, you know, by helping people and helping people be the best that they can be. And I think that keeps me going and that keeps me enjoying what I'm doing.
That's, I talk about this a lot. In fact, I spoke about this on the last interview I did. The power of giving is so rewarding and so powerful because it inspires us, you know, it gives us that good satisfaction. And, you know, some even say that giving is an act of selfishness because, you know, it makes us feel so good when we give. And go on.
I definitely agree, because it does, it makes you feel good. It does. It's that feel good factor. So I guess in a way it is a bit selfish, but that's all right. Being selfish and giving back is always a good space to be. You can't always take.
Yeah, exactly. So to anyone watching, you know, give back, help others, you know, do nice things. It's an amazing thing. Okay. I mean, it's been fantastic talking with you. You've given me goosebumps multiple times throughout this interview. The last thing we do on this channel is we ask the viewers and the people watching to support the TING, because we want to grow this platform and network. So if you'd kindly tell the viewers to support the TING, hit the like, hit the subscribe.
Everybody support the TING.
Wicked. Thanks a lot, Sonia.
Oh, thanks, Tyler.
Another really inspiring interview. Now, if you enjoyed that, check out the Inspire and Be Inspired playlist, where I interview lots of other inspiring people. Check that out. Or check out the video YouTube thinks is best for you. YouTube thinks you'll like this video. But remember, support the TING. Support the TING here. Peace and love.